We'll call to order the regular meeting of the Common Council of the City of Platteville for Tuesday, May 23rd, 2017 at 7 o'clock, and we'll start with roll call.
Don Francis.
Here.
Barbara Stackhausen has been excused. Ken Killian.
Here.
Eileen Nichols.
Here.
Tom Nall.
Here.
Catherine Westaby. Here. And Barbara Doss.
Here. All right, we have a public hearing this evening, the resolution approving the plan unit development for 455 Broadway, and we'll start with staff presentation.
Okay, the request is for a planned unit development, 455 Broadway. That property currently has a single-family home on it. It's used as a rental property. The owner of that property would like to remove that structure and build 2 duplexes on that lot. He's applied for approval of planned unit development to allow that. There are several characteristics of that proposed project that do not meet the zoning ordinance. The property itself is 92.5 feet wide by approximately 211 feet deep, so it's got an area of about 19,500 square feet. And as I mentioned, it's got the single-family home. You'll probably do it if it's approved. It'll be built in phases. The existing home would remain. The garage would be removed. They'd build the first duplex to the rear of the property, and then a second phase would be to remove the existing house and put up the second duplex. There would be one driveway from Broadway that would provide access to both duplexes, as well as the parking spaces. 12 parking spaces would be included. Each building would be 1 story, 3-bedroom units in each, same layout for each building, no basements. The property is zoned R2, which does allow duplex use if the lot meets the minimum size requirements. To be considered adequate for a duplex, it has to have 100 feet of frontage and 12,000 square feet of area. In this case, the lot is short on the frontage, and it does have enough frontage for 1 duplex, enough area for 1 duplex, but not for the 2. At just under 20,000 square feet, it's short, because if each duplex needs 12,000 square feet, he'd need at least 24,000 to accommodate both. So he's short on that characteristic. So there are a couple other ones where it doesn't quite conform to the ordinance requirements. The first and primary one is the zoning ordinance says you can only have 1 principal structure on a lot. So with the 2 duplexes, that would be the main reason for the requested plan unit development, is to allow 2 instead of the 1. As I mentioned, the lot frontage is a little short for what the ordinance would require for a duplex lot. The lot area is short for 2 duplexes. The layout as submitted has a 10-foot rear yard setback. The ordinance would require 25 feet for standard. And this one, the driveway is 20 feet wide, which normally is adequate for a single family or duplex, but since we're talking 4 units here, I think we should apply the multifamily standards, which would require 24 feet of driveway width. So that is a little bit short. The 12 parking spaces would be adequate to meet our ordinance requirements, and the other requirements of the ordinance have been met. The way the plan unit development works is that you can approve a project that does not meet the ordinance requirements. It's kind of a negotiated proposal. You can look at the overall characteristics of the proposal, and if there are things that you like and negotiate things you don't like, theoretically you can approve the ordinance even though it's short on some requirements. For this particular project, the Plan Commission reviewed it, staff reviewed it, and there doesn't seem to be a lot of benefit provided. We're theoretically giving up some shortage on some of the ordinance requirements, but as far as the ordinance says, in return you should basically get some higher design standards, some additional aesthetics of the property, some additional features that provide some benefits either to the future owners or tenants of that property or the neighborhood in general. Overall, I think at the Plan Commission level, the consensus was it just seemed a little bit too tight as far as what's being proposed for that size lot. There are some concerns raised by the neighbors in that area due to the location of the driveway for this property, basically within the 15-mile-an-hour slow zone for the school district. And when school's in session, there was some concerns about that location, the traffic impacts being so close to the school. So the Plan Commission overall did recommend denial of the request, and the staff has also recommended denial as submitted. Any questions?
Anyone? Okay, do we have an applicant statement? Evidently not this evening. I have not received any requests to speak in favor, or public statements against, or public statements in general. So seeing the absence of that, we will go immediately to council discussion. So anyone on the council have any questions or comments on the request?
I move we close the public hearing.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, we'll vote.
Francis,
Yes.
Gillian,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Nall,
Yes.
Westerby,
Yes.
Doss.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Common council action.
I move we deny the request for a plan unit development at 455 Broadway.
I'll second.
A motion and a second, and we'll vote.
Francis,
Yes.
Gillian,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Nall,
Yes.
Westerby,
Yes.
Doss.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next is the consideration of the consent calendar. The following items may be approved on a single motion and vote due to their routine nature or previous discussion. Please indicate to the council president if you would prefer separate discussion and action. A is council minutes from the 5/9/17 special and regular meetings. B is payment of bills. C is appointments to boards and commissions, and we have no appointments this evening, but I will again let the public know that we would really appreciate citizens applying to serve on our committees and commissions. This is your city, and we'd like to give you the opportunity to be on a committee or a board and commission and give your input. So these are the openings: Board of Appeal, ET Zoning, Historic Preservation Commission alternate. Parks, Forestry, and Recreation Committee actually has 3 openings. And in July, the Commission on Aging will have 2 openings, the Museum Board, 1 opening, and the Redevelopment Authority Board will have 2. So again, go to platteville.org and you can find the information about all of these boards, commissions, and committees. D is licenses, temporary Class B licenses to serve wine for the Rotary Club Uncorked Downtown Wine Walk on Friday, June 9th. And also in our packet, 1-year and 2-year operator license requests to sell or serve alcohol. And finally, a permit, 2 of them, a run walk permit for the 4th of July committee on Clare Bank on Tuesday, July 4th. And a street closing permit for North Court from West Adams to West Cedar for a wedding reception on Saturday, May 27th from 5:15 p.m. until 12 a.m. Is there a motion?
I move to approve the consent calendar.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second, we'll vote.
Francis,
Yes.
Gillian,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Nall,
Yes.
Westerby,
Yes.
Doss.
Yes.
Motion carries.
This would be the time for citizens' comments, observations, and petitions. And again, I've received no requests for anyone this evening to speak, so we'll go on to reports. In our packet, Zoning Board of Appeals, Noel.
Nothing.
Airport Commission, Dawes.
Nothing to add.
I have a question.
Oh, sorry, on Airport Commission.
Airport fuel farm update. It says 2 turbine aircraft owned by Kaiser were found to have water in the fuel system. And later, the insurance company paid their claim in full. My question is, how did the water get in the fuel? Is the water in the major source of the fuel? What's the situation?
Go ahead.
Do you want me to answer?
Sure.
We haven't found any indication that we had water in our fuel system. We had state inspectors come out, we had third parties come out and do testing. We were actually really shocked that the insurance company paid that claim. I think that everyone thought it was going to be dismissed. So on the airport's behalf, we still are saying it was not water in our system. However, nobody really has an answer for anything. We've done our due diligence as far as having our system checked. We do know we need a new fuel farm, and it is in the works. It's part of the projects to be happening in 2018. But at this time, there's no clear evidence of what really happened.
And there were multiple tests, Ken, from multiple sources, and there wasn't any water, so, yeah, it's a mystery.
Mystery. I
Kind of like
mysteries.
when the plane was stolen and has never been recovered from the airport. That's a mystery too, from several years back.
Okay, thank you.
Commission on Aging, Westoby.
I have nothing to add, but.
Nothing to add at this point.
You're the new appointee.
I'm new.
All right. Parks, Forestry, and Recreation Committee?
Nothing.
Don? All right. Library Board, that would be me. And it was a good meeting, nothing new to add, just looking forward to the occupancy very soon of the new library building.
I have a question.
Yep.
Looking at Part 4, Reports D, it says the foundation has paid $196,000 city, is that saying to the city, for capital campaign expenses to date? Is that correct?
So I can answer that if you want me to, Eileen.
Go ahead.
So the foundation is paying in the donations that have been taken in. They're keeping the track of all of the donations that they're receiving for the foundation that the foundation is raising for the library project. So once that money is expended, then they send in a reimbursement request from the community foundation to be paid. So they're just reimbursing. We budgeted for that amount in the budget. 520,000 total was the budget for the foundation to raise. So we're just being reimbursed from the community foundation.
So as things are purchased, then the city submits a request for payment for what's been purchased.
Well, it says it's paid $196,000 for campaign expenses.
Right. So the library is raising money right now, and they're just keeping the money.
I think that there's a misnomer. It isn't for capital campaign expenses. It's for expenses for furniture, fixture,
Yes.
and equipment that are being funded through the capital campaign. So it really shouldn't say for capital campaign expenses, because that would sound like you're paying a consultant or something.
Right,
That's not what's happened. This was for some kind of furniture or some kind of fixtures or some kind of equipment that was submitted by the library to the foundation as an FF&E expense. So that's what's being paid.
thank you. It was not clear.
Water and Sewer Commission, Killian.
I have no addition.
The addition?
No.
Okay. All right, covers the reports. First action item, the letter of intent with the Platteville Area Senior Services. Karen, I don't know if you want to add anything to that, or?
I don't know that we have anything to add from the presentation last time, but basically this is just the agreement that would outline the arrangement between the City of Platteville and Platteville Area Senior Services. And it's intended to be kind of a working document, so this is the general framework, but this is uncharted territory for both parties. So we would like the discretion to be able to tweak this agreement as needed as we kind of work through the process, but we wanted you to be fully aware and approve of the general concept.
Any questions, anyone? Is there a motion to approve the letter of intent?
So move.
I'll second.
A motion and a second, and we'll vote.
Francis,
Yes.
Killian,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Nall,
Yes.
Westoby. Yes. Doss.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next is approval of an RFP for banking services.
So the city went out, put an RFP out for banking services. Our current contract is with Mound City Bank that will expire at the end of May. As you know, we should have went out for RFP last year, but because of the transition of staff, we were, Mound City Bank was gracious enough to extend our current contract. So for RFPs, we got five proposals, and staff evaluated all the proposals in strict accordance with the criteria set forth in the RFPs. There were two banks that were really close. However, there was a difference of potential interest earnings, and we want to take all the money we can get. So with that being said, staff recommends continuing with Mound City Bank, the current financial institution, for an additional 5 years. And I also want to note, in the past, it's typically been done that the contract would end at the end of December, but that's a really, really busy time for our office, so we actually switched it so it's mid-year, so it ends May 31st of every year.
Any questions on that, anybody?
So this isn't approval of an RFP, it's approval of the results of an RFP.
No, this is the approval.
Right, but an RFP, the way I read it at first from the agenda, approval of an RFP would be the actual request for proposals.
Oh,
This
no.
is approval of a proposal.
Correct.
We'll
that
just
right?
take out RFP.
Yes,
Approval of banking services.
yes.
Is there a motion to approve the banking services agreement with Mound City Bank?
I move to approve the banking services with Mound City Bank.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. We'll vote.
Francis,
Yes.
Killian,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Nall,
Yes.
Westerby. Yes. Doss,
I abstain.
motion carries.
All right, that concludes our televised portion. We are going to go to a work session on the future of City Hall space and then a closed session after that.